I asked you a question a while back, and I don't think we even answered it. I don't know if we got off on another subject or whatever, but I'm going to ask it again because I think it's important, especially if the sales manager's watching. We talked about a sales engine, and I asked the question of, what are the components of an effective sales engine? I think I used the example, I'm a sales manager, and I know the new norm's not coming back. What are those things I should be addressing? Where do I start? What do I want to do?
Yeah, so I would say in terms of the process or the engine, to me, in my experience, there's three components that we have to look at. One of them is marketing as an aspect. Another one is sales development, and then a third one is sales. So those are the three categories or steps in the process that make up that whole thing. So you just shared
that with me. I'm your prospect, and I say, well, what do you mean by marketing? I got marketing. What do you mean? What are those things I got to make sure today that I'm doing?
Yeah. So the goal of marketing is to cast a wide net and to make sure that when a prospect is out looking for your product or service, that you are there to be found. So what I need my marketing team to be doing is to be covering a lot of ground in several different places where my customers are looking for information.
Okay. And there's obviously all kinds of...
Yeah, you have the social media aspect of it. You have the digital aspect of it. You even have, print media is still there's a lot of companies and industries that work in print media, traditional marketing. There's a lot of different tactics from a marketing standpoint. There's supportive roles, right, in terms of recruiting, marketing to new employees as well. But from a sales perspective, I need a wide net so that when my customers are out there looking for information or solutions, that we are there to be found.
And then with that, as you mentioned earlier in the show, is there's all kinds of metrics that I got to measure that. So we could talk on that topic for hours, right?
Absolutely.
So, okay, so I'm a prospect. I just called you. You said, well, hey, Mr. Prospect, you need an engine. I said, well, okay, what do I need? You said, well, you need marketing, and you need marketing to cover a broad net. I say, okay, whether I got it or not. Mm-hmm. Okay. You mentioned I need sales development. What do I need in sales development? And what's that mean?
So sales development, the way that we use it here as concept, is in two primary functions. The first one is so with marketing, if I'm casting a wide net, I'm likely to get some fish caught in that net that aren't necessarily the exact type of fish that I want, right? So they're going to take I need to take a little bit of management and nurturing and further qualification. So
marketing is not just bringing me the salmon.
No, you're catching a lot of different types of fish in that net with marketing.
Okay.
And so I need my sales development team to have a process in place to take, the 100,000 or the 10,000 leads that I might have down to the ones that are actually a good fit.
And that's a process.
That's definitely a process.
Give me some examples of some of the components that might be in that process.
In the sales development process?
Yeah.
Yeah, so it could be one-to-one outreach through, we use a tool for HubSpot in terms of sequences. So it could be a combination of emails, one-to-one emails, phone call follow-up conversations, LinkedIn messaging or connecting on LinkedIn to try to build that relationship and credibility with that lead, to further qualify them down the pipeline.
Because some of these leads, as you said, they just may not be even good for you. Mm-hmm. Some of them may be good, but they're just not ready today.
Yep.
And so what you're saying is, hey, I got to have a process that's developing these and nurturing these for X period until they either fall off the radar or they turn into something.
Yeah, and that's a good point. It might be a sprint to hurry up and figure out if it's a good fit. Right.
Because I don't want to waste any energy if it's not.
Yeah. And if it's a good fit, then I need to make sure I have a process to say, if they're not ready to buy now, if they are in 12 months from now, I'm still there. If they are 24 months from now, I'm still there.
Is that a process that customers do well?
No. I would say overarching historically, that's probably the number one complaint that I get, especially from marketing groups. Which isn't a surprise, but
because they're generating the leads.
They're generating all the leads.
They think they're generating good ones.
Yep. And sales is coming back and saying,
they're no good.
These aren't any good. Or, and this happens more often than not, where they really just don't know. And maybe it was one phone call that was made, nobody answered, and then nothing happened with it, and it just flew off into the abyss.
Yeah. And then you said the third part is sales. What falls into that?
Yeah, so from a sales perspective, that's where you're starting to get into that consultative piece where I need to have a deeper and more high-level understanding of your environment and your business so that I can pair the services that I can provide to you to best fill those specific needs.
And you said earlier, and I agree with you 100%, you said earlier, that consultative call, that needs to be with people who know what they're doing.
Mm-hmm.
And that may not be the people you had in the past. And we got to be able to make that tough decision if it's not.
Yep.
Well, I think that's a big point because you spent money. You just threw out a wide net.
Mm-hmm.
That takes money. You spent money to go through the salmon and the walleye and the bass, right, and the chubs and everything and get to the ones you want. Takes money. And then the ones you do have, not all of those are a deal today. So you got to nurture those. Finally, I get to sales. So I spent all this time and money to get to this point. I better make sure I'm putting a batter up there that can hit the ball.
Yep.
It just makes sense. So you just shared with me as a sales manager, hey, here's 3 components of an engine. So you gave me something to think about, right?
Mm-hmm.
Is that something can Concept do all that?
Absolutely.
Concept can do all of that.
Yeah. And that's what, going back to the conversation about what's the Concept difference is, not only do we have the ability to support each one of those areas of focus in the process, but we have some pretty smart and experienced people leading up each one of those individual areas in the company that have seen a lot, used a lot, been out there and experienced a lot to help, bring that high level of expertise to each one of those phases, as opposed to just relying on somebody that might have a baseline understanding of all of them.
I'm asking one more question. I'm that prospect. And I share with you, hey, I have Mary, who's my marketing person. Mm-hmm. And I have Jim and Bob, and they're my sales guys. I think I have everything. Do I?
No.
How do you know?
Because you're missing the connecting piece between the two. And what you're going to run into is that perpetual fight of, I'm sending you a bunch of leads. Well, these leads aren't very good.
So you're back to your integrated solutions again.
Yep.
I think another thing you hit on just a minute or two ago, you said within Concept, all right? So within your organization, in the marketing side, in the sales development side, the sales side, you said, hey, we have very specialized people in each of these. I think one of the problems smaller companies and even mid-sized companies have, and it's not a knock, it's just a limitation, it's tough to find a person who can do all of that. And now they're sitting back and saying, well, how am I supposed to afford that? I can't hire 10 people, and that's a legitimate question. How do I do that?
Yeah, and I think it's a reevaluation of the entire budget as a whole. And I think you can't look at before, if I needed to increase revenue as a sales leader, I might just go hire 5 or 10 new sales guys and throw them out there and say, hey, good luck, go get them. Now I got more territory covered. Presumably I'm having more conversations with people, and ultimately I should be bringing in new.
Doesn't that seem so antiquated today? But there are a lot of companies still doing that.
Oh yeah, without a doubt. I would say a lot of the companies that we talk to that's their current understanding of the best way to go out and try to generate new business.
Well, you said something, and I want to make sure I go back to it because actually I was hoping you were going to say that. It's not a matter of can you afford it. It's a matter of let's reevaluate your budget.
Yeah.
And I like to share with people, and I truly believe this, it's about spending what you can spend, but spend it the most efficient way you can spend it. Right?
Yeah.
If I'm spending $10, well, let's make sure I'm spending $10 the most effective way I can spend it, because I need that 10 to turn into 20.
Yeah.
I can't spend 10 and make it 11 or spend 10 and don't even get 10 back. And I think that's the reevaluation for today. I think you hit on it earlier. You said it's a mindset that we got to get through, right? I may be holding on to older people. When I say older, not necessarily older in age, but tenure with a company, and we always did it that way. There's got to be a mindset saying, I can't do it that way. I got to realign dollars. And so some things you're saying isn't necessarily implying I got to spend more money. It's reallocate what I have.
Yeah. And I think that's the accelerant of the pandemic has been now I'm being forced to.
Because
I have to. I don't have a choice. If either the company's going to go under if you're a small or mid-sized business, or I have to produce the same or more level of results with less money.